Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my small business. I'm going to be walking you through everything that I've gotten so far. So I've gotten some new tools and stuff, and we'll take a look at that. I'm then also going to show off the prototype projects that I've made so far and kind of what my plan is moving forward with those. And then lastly, I am going to be going over some of the struggles that I've faced pretty early on in my small business journey. To give you an idea of where I'm at right now, I haven't sold anything yet. This is me pretty much just setting up and learning the ropes. So we're going to be going over all of that in the video. There'll be timestamps down below if you want to jump to any specific part, but let's just jump into it and get started. All right, hopefully you guys can see okay out here. It's absolutely freezing. We just had another snowstorm, so yeah, pretty pretty bad out here. But I wanted to show you guys around and show you what I have set up because there has been quite a bit of progress from the last video, the workshop video. So I'll show you around. Okay, so this is the current working area. We have a drill press now and a bandsaw. I actually recorded a video unboxing these, but I had to scrap it. It was just way too much going on the whole time. So um, I got these set up, ready to go. As you can see, they have been getting some use. I also got in a ton of materials. We got some wires. We actually have the key rings and attachments. I'm not in love with these. I'll probably end up getting new ones, but we did get those. Um, the work area is a mess right now, but I got some pliers and dikes and a one-step looper tool, and all that's going to come in handy with the product, which I'll show off here in a second. But this is where I'll be processing a decent amount of this stuff. The only downside is that it is absolutely freezing. So for the time being, because it's so cold, I have been doing a lot of work inside, as well as because there's not enough space out here for the final tool. So we'll go back inside and I'll show you that. All right, so now we're inside. I got the other tool right here, a little suspense. It is a laser engraver. This area is also a mess. I haven't been cleaning up. I'll have to get better at that. Sorry for the echo. This room is very echoey because there's literally nothing in it except for this table with the laser engraver on it. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here we are with the laser engraver. I also have my laptop here. You need a computer to run this thing, but it's pretty cool. This is the Genmitsu L8. That's the name of this laser engraver. It's a 20-watt laser engraver. You can also get it in 40 watts, but it's a lot more expensive that way. So I got the less powered version, which may have caused me some issues, but it still works for the most part. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a diode laser, so you need kind of a protective case around it, which it comes fully assembled like this. So the only thing you really need to do is put the actual laser component, just slide it down and lock it in. Otherwise, it's literally ready to go out of the box. But this is really cool, and it's done everything I needed it to do. So I'm gonna bring you here and take a closer look. Okay, so yeah, again, here is the laser engraver. You can see it has this honeycomb panel underneath, which is really nice. Comes with that. I have my sheet of acrylic in here that I was testing some cuts on, and yeah, it has a camera on it, which is super useful. I did struggle a little bit setting this up, but it's because I'm an idiot. So just, it has an emergency stop on it. You can't see that because of the computer. It has an emergency stop on it. Make sure that that is not pushed in when you're trying to set everything up, because it's just not going to work. Who'd have thought? Alrighty guys, so here is batch one. I actually have a whole little baggie of them, but we're only going to look at a couple here. You can see that these are pretty small, just for scale. I wish I had something better, but this is, I believe, 25 millimeters in diameter, but some of them look pretty good. This goat and these fish actually don't look too bad, but let's take a look at the crab here. as you can probably see, the crab is a little messed up. This arm area over here uh, isn't connected like it should be. It's completely hollow, and unlike this side, which looks pretty good. You can also see internals here. It's burned through on the legs, and on the back side you can actually see some of this stuff more clearly. Some of these little tiny crab feet didn't fully come out, so overall a decent first attempt. I mean, this is literally my first batch of prototypes, so not awful, but definitely some issues that I needed to fix. You can also see just how bad some of the cuts were on this Scorpio design here. Just completely obliterated it. I knew with something like this that I probably just needed to scale it up, maybe space things out a little more. And so that is exactly what I did with batch 2. Here's another from batch 1. This is the Virgo design, and you can definitely tell it's a flower, but essentially the whole design of the inside of the rose there is not there. But all of these things were fixed with batch 2. So after scaling it up, you can see here we have the same Scorpio design as well as a Gemini design that I've roughly sanded over when I was just trying some things out, so this looks a little rough. But you can see that the Scorpio looks significantly better. The insides aren't all burnt up. Everything is punched through. There's proper spacing. It's not polished, but from this side you can tell that it looks pretty good. Same with the Geminis. These both look very good. And just a few more for reference. We have the fish from Pisces and Leo, the lion here. All of these turned out pretty good. And if you're curious, this internal piece right here is actually pretty strong. I mean, I'm not pressing with full force here, but I mean, you'd have to really try to punch that out. And so I'm not worried about this breaking and shipping or anything. I mean, it's on there pretty good, even at this thickness, which I did end up changing slightly. So on to batch 3, we have the actual Virgo design here, which looks really nice, I think, especially since the flower is left intact now. You can also see it here on the Aquarius design, this water bearer. I think both of these turned out pretty good. These are not polished at the moment. These are pretty much straight out of the laser engraver. But if we take a look at these two, we have Cancer and Aries. Aries is perfect. I mean, this is exactly what I need. And once I'm able to drill a hole into the top here and attach the keychain like I did in batch 2, this will be essentially the product once I clean it up a little bit more. Cancer, on the other hand, this blue material is definitely harder to cut through with the laser than the red, and that leads to some discoloration as well as some burning. The discoloration, I've heard that I can find a couple different ways to clean, including toothpaste and stuff like that, but the burns, it's just the amount of power and the number of passes that I'm doing on this. So Cancer probably won't be done in this material just because the design is too complex. And to show that better, you can also see Pisces here turned out great, just like Aquarius. A little discoloration, maybe, but overall they turned out pretty good. And so these designs could be on this material easily with the settings I already have, no tweaks needed. But something like Cancer, it's just not going to really work on this material without me significantly changing the design or changing some of the settings to maybe get this to work. But you can see the slow progression towards a real product, especially if I place them all side by side, one from each batch. I'll try to get here we go. So there you go. Batch 1, batch 2, batch 3. You may also be wondering, why does batch 3 not have the little nub at the top? That is simply because it's harder to sand that way. You can imagine, I actually have a sanding pad here, going in a circle like this around the sanding pad is a lot easier than going around hitting this nub, having to maybe work that on the edge, you know, do something like this, work it on this edge, then do the rest of the circle. It's a lot more complicated and it doesn't really add all that much. The solution to attachment is just going to be drilling a small hole in the top middle of the keychain, which shouldn't be difficult. I mean, it's not going to be any more or less difficult than drilling that hole. And it also wouldn't need to be as perfectly centered. You can see pretty clearly on this one that it is not perfectly centered. And it's noticeable because it's so close to the edges, where in this case, it would be pretty far from the edges and therefore a lot harder to see if I didn't line it up perfectly. But overall, really happy with these. But there you have it. Overall, the designs that I have worked out so far, or at least cut so far. I'm getting some more materials in to test all of the designs. As you saw earlier, we have the Capricorn, Gemini, Scorpio, and all the rest of the zodiacs are completed in terms of the design. So now it's just a matter of getting the materials, testing it out, and then finishing the products. Okay, so now we're going to be going over the struggles that I've come into at the very beginning of starting my small business. I may have said this earlier, I'm not sure, but I haven't actually sold any products yet. So that's kind of what I'm considering like tier 0 of a small business, right? You haven't actually done the cool stuff yet, you're just doing all of the maintenance stuff. So if you're at this level of your creative business, welcome. And I'll kind of show you where I'm at, some of the struggles I'm going through, the solutions I found, and stuff like that, just so that you're aware when you're starting your business. First little tip is get a journal. I am telling you, this is a lifesaver. I'll have a link to a video down below of the journaling guideline thing that I followed in order to get started, but this thing is magical. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to show you everything in here. There's some personal stuff, but managing the business, this has been a lifesaver. If you've tried out Trello or any of these other kind of organizational apps, it's not worth it. This is perfect. It's exactly what you need. It's free form, graphs, charts, lists, checklists, notes. You can do anything in a real physical book. I highly recommend you get a real physical book. So inside of my notebook here, I have essentially the guidelines for this video that I'm making. Again, makes things really easy. So small business struggles. First thing I have on here is money. Everybody knows the saying, you have to have money to make money or spend money to make money, however that goes. But it's true. I didn't have a laser engraver before I started this. Now I do. So yeah, you do need to spend money to make money. That is true. I've spent a couple $100, probably over $1,000 on equipment and materials, and I haven't even sold anything yet. So if you're interested in starting a small business, be prepared to spend more than you expect. It's a good thing. It also gets you more invested in what you're doing. Don't give up on your ideas. Just make sure you sell them right. It can be hard to see that money leave your account, especially if your finances are kind of up in the air. Luckily, I have a pretty big savings. I was in the military for 4 years, and I made it a priority to save a lot of money. So even with that said, it still hurts to dig into your savings and actually use that money, but that's what it's there for. If this is the life that you're pursuing, that's what you're going to have to do. I will probably make a video going over my expenses for my specific business, but obviously I have no idea what you guys are doing, so I'm not going to put that all in here just right away, because making keychains out of acrylic and wood probably isn't your business model. You may be doing polymer clay or crocheting or knitting or sewing or laser engraving even, but different. So I'll go over my expenses definitely down the line. If you want to see that, leave a comment, let me know. But money is kind of a hurdle to get through. Okay, next we have advertising. Again, I haven't actually started selling any products yet, so I haven't had the need to advertise, but this YouTube channel is a way for me to do that. The reason to build this up is so that when I am making products, I can talk about them here and hopefully it's entertaining. I've been listening to a podcast called 3 Point Perspective. I'll put a link to that down below as well. They are illustrators, but having an artistic business is their thing. That is what they talk about on that podcast. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it to anybody interested in small business, a creative small business. They also specifically talk about advertising a lot and the different ways that you can go about it. One of the only reasons that I believe that my small business can succeed is because of social media. And although that word is kind of a dirty word, we all know that we shouldn't be on it as much. It's also a super useful tool. You can have TikTok videos and Instagram Reels get hundreds of thousands of views, and you don't have to have a huge following in order for that to happen. It's one of the greatest things about a platform like that. So creating content like this YouTube video is a way to get people that wouldn't otherwise know interested in your product. And if your product is good enough, then they're willing to actually spend money on it. You need to get people interested in your product, whether that means making them interested in you by creating a connection through YouTube videos and things like that, social media posts, or just pushing advertising out on those platforms. But as of right now, that is one of my struggles. It's been a struggle to make videos like this where all I want to do is just focus on the business stuff. Luckily today was a little bit of a slow day and I said, well, how bad do you want this business? Go out there, make a video, get in front of the camera. All right, so in line with that last statement, you need a website. Everybody knows that. I have been watching YouTube for a long time. Everybody knows who do you go to when you need a website? It's almost always Squarespace. And that might be the right idea for you. Go and do your research. For me, I chose Shopify, and one of the only super major hurdles that I've found is Shopify. So let's get into what I mean. Well over a week ago, I purchased my domain name and bought the annual subscription for Shopify, just the normal basic package that allows me to sell online. It was looking great. I was starting to design my website, following the little step-by-step guide that they give you when you start your website. They had me put a product on there. I just threw up a little test product and I was designing kind of the visuals and layout and stuff like that. It was getting pretty late that night, and so I decided bedtime, hopped off, went to bed. Woke up the next morning, really excited to jump into my website. I actually have it written here in my journal, but January 12th, I said, finish website. I wrote that in here before I hopped on the computer, and they killed it. My website was completely gone, terminated. They said I violated some sort of end user agreement, which was pretty surprising since I didn't even have anything really on there. I have no idea what they want. I tried reaching out through support and they said a different team handles that, and so you just have to appeal pretty much, which is where I'm at right now. To give you an idea, that was January 12th. Today is January 21st. So it has been well over a week and I have heard absolutely nothing. Generally, this wouldn't be a huge deal, right? I mean, just go to Squarespace, use them, right? Well, I did like Shopify. It's who I wanted to go with. I picked them for a reason. But you're right. Okay, sure, Shopify may be better for what I wanted, but it's not like Squarespace is going to be bad or the end of the world, right? And that's true. But unfortunately, I bought my domain through Shopify. And since that store is terminated, that domain is still purchased by Spotify, and I can't access that store, which means my domain name is just gone. I can't buy it from anywhere else, and Shopify won't let me use it. So I'm stuck. It's a major, major roadblock. This website should have been up and running weeks ago, or a week ago, about. And instead, I'm sitting here completely in the dark. I tried posting about it on Reddit and got pretty much no response. I knew that I'm not the only person that this has happened to. There's just no way. But when I went on there and asked, hey, what's the timeline on this? Pretty much nobody knew. But that is something that you should look out for. Maybe look at some tutorials on how to build your Shopify website before you go through them, or use a different platform. I'm not saying that using a different platform will fix this problem, because I have no idea, but maybe. Just to recap, that's money, advertising, and Shopify. So those are the 3 hurdles that I've hit so far. If you have any questions, more specifics and stuff like that, go ahead and ask them down below. I'll try to answer as many as I can. I don't get a ton of comments. This channel isn't big enough yet, so I'll probably respond to you. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, if you're starting a small business, this was at least a little bit helpful. And if you're not, hopefully it was a little entertaining. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.